Be sure and tell them Large Marge sent ya.
In the 90s, we were just teeny tykes. We rented movies and our bikes. We wanted to be DJs, but we were just teeny gals. So we went off to college and we remained best pals. 20 years later, we're still watching flicks and we're bringing you the feeling bit by bit. Sweety and Sweety are here to say it's the Large Marge sent us podcast. Hey.
I want to see this dead grandmother firsthand. It's all right, Grace. It's Ferris Bueller, a little twerp. I'm going to set a trap and let him fall right into it.
Ed, I'm sorry. Did you say you wanted to see a body?
Yeah, that's right. Just roll her old bones on over here, and I'll dig up your daughter. You know that school policy.
Oh?
Was this your mother?
No, my wife's mother.
Ed Rooney's office.
Hi, this is Ferris Bueller. Can I speak to Mr. Rooney, please? Thank you.
Hold.
Tell you what, dipshit. You don't like my policies, you can just come on down here and smooch my big old white butt.
Ed,
Pucker up, buttercup.
What?
Ferris Bueller's online too.
Hey guys, welcome to the Large Marge Sent Us podcast, your favorite podcast where two Sweety sisters talk about movies that shaped their childhood. I'm Sweety.
And I'm Sweety.
And I'm back from vacation.
Thank God. I was so bored.
Yeah.
You were gone a long time.
But it didn't seem like I was gone because we had a podcast we recorded ahead of time.
Magic.
Just like the magic of the movies.
Except it's a podcast.
Yeah. So that was pretty cool. I went to Ireland to see our baby niece, Ava. And then I went to Berlin to see my friend Rebe. So it was a great couple days. But it's good to be back in the USSA. The USA.
The USSR? Is that what you're going to say?
Yeah, I was trying
you
to
got
go with
confused?
That. Back in the USA.
And
You
you're
don't
real
know how
sleepy,
lucky
so
you
hopefully
are.
she doesn't fall asleep.
So I feel like my jet lag has just set in. Exhausted.
You came back on Friday.
Yeah, but then I did stuff all yesterday and maybe had too many adult beverages and didn't take a nap today. So anyway, long story short, I'm just going to tough this one out because I'm a fucking trooper.
Oh boy. Well, here goes nothing. Here we go.
All right.
Would you like to tell the fine folks at home what movie we watched?
No.
All right, I'll do it. We watched another John Hughes classic, Ferris Bueller's Day Off. Wow, it's a big yawn. This is going to be great. Bueller. Yeah. So, originally we wanted to watch Now and Then. Unfortunately, there is apparently no way on earth to watch that movie unless you own it. So, very upset. I don't know why that is. Please fix that, movie gods. I'm really upset. I already said that. So, we were like, I guess we'll watch Ferris Bueller. Even though I wasn't like totally pumped about it, but I was like, I guess we just gotta do it because it's classic, you know?
It's
but like,
good.
it's okay.
It's good, but I think this movie has like lost its spark for me.
Yeah.
As a little kid watching this, I thought it was like the coolest thing ever. I thought it was hilarious. I thought Ferris Bueller was just the most awesome person. He's just like so cool and has all these great lines. I don't know. This movie like is not aged well for me or something. It's just like okay now.
I think it's just gotten like overplayed in
Yeah.
the like jokes and like
Yeah.
how cool it is, and I don't know. It seems it's just overplayed. It's like that song that you love, and you're like, I don't play that song all the time now because I love it so much, and you're like, I'm sick of that song.
Yeah, and I mean, I think when it came out, it was like this kind of cool thing where he's this really cool guy and everyone wants to be him, and it was really clever, like, you know, the like writing, you know, whatever that's called, like writing on the TV when he like lists things or he talks to the camera, you know, it was like all those kind of little things.
Writing on the TV.
So dumb. Remember, he's like listing ways to fake get out of school, and it's like this list appears. So it's like little like touches like that I think were really like revolutionary at the time. but I've since been like so. I mean, this was the first one to really like start all that stuff, but now it's just been overdone.
It's also just kind of an exhausting movie, which is like funny that we picked this when you were like getting exhausted.
Oh my god!
But I was like, how fucking long is this day? Why is okay? We'll save this for Sweety question time. But like, I have several questions about the day.
Okay.
Anyways, so this movie stars Matthew Broderick, who I only remember his name like 75% of the time that I try to say it. Weird. I always get real stumped. Sometimes I'll just be like doing some things, like some life thing, and I'll be like, "What is his name?" I can't remember it. I don't know why.
He's my best friend's second cousin. Did you know that?
No, what?
Yeah,
Who?
Robin's second cousin.
That's weird.
Yeah, isn't that weird?
It's pretty weird.
Like
so
her
she knows
mom,
like SJP?
What? Yeah, she's like kind of related to SJP. And her mom, when Matthew Broderick was in Death of a Salesman or How to Succeed in Business or whatever, some Broadway play.
Producers?
No, maybe. She went backstage to go meet him. Isn't that cool? And she kind of looks like him, doesn't she? He's like she's like a Matthew Broderick face.
Not like, I mean, if you're second cousins, you're not like.
Yeah, no.
I don't know if that's like a
Well,
done
that's just
deal
my,
or not,
like,
but like
6 degrees of Kevin Bacon.
Pretty cool though.
For Matthew
But
Broderick.
yeah, so Matthew Broderick, that guy Alan Ruck who plays Cameron, Sarah.
2 first names.
Is it Sarah or Sarah though?
I think it's Sarah.
Whatever. Plays Sloane. And Jennifer Grey plays his sister Jeannie. So that is The Stars. It was made in 1986.
Andre was born that year.
Year of my when I was born in Egypt's land. Let my sweetie go. Good one.
Yeah.
So yeah, let's just start getting into it before you fall asleep on the microphone.
Such an exhausting plot, too.
Woof.
All right, it's the Sweety synopsis.
Yeah, sweeties. Ferris Bueller wants to play hooky. He wants to not go to school because school is a drag, you guys. Ferris is a senior at a weird high school in Illinois, suburb of Chicago. Maybe Oak Park, we're not sure.
Oak Park.
That's a suburb. So he plays sick. And pretty convincingly, too. It's quite a ruse. He has several gadgets hooked up. Things like a mannequin in his bed, tapes.
You'd think he'd do it. He does it a lot.
Yeah. So
9
this is his 9th
times.
time being sick. Fake sick. So his parents buy it. His sister Jeannie does not buy it and is mad because she gets like everything. And if she pulled this, they wouldn't let her stay home, that kind of thing. So they leave him home. They go to work. He calls his friend Cameron, who is like a depressive, psychotic, like...
Psychotic?
Well, wait, what's that, the like serious depression, sickness, mental illness? It's like... It's like, I don't know. He's clearly depressed. No, I'm very concerned. I'm very concerned.
A dark person.
No. I'm very concerned that they swept his illness under the rug.
No.
And that he obviously needed help, and I'm just worried about him. So Cameron is also sick, but apparently is sick all the time. Has a terrible home life. Ferris is like, "Hey, come over, pick me up," because he has a car and Ferris does not, so he needs to use the car. So Cameron begrudgingly comes over. I don't know, it's unclear to me whether they concoct this plan to get Sloane out or that it was already concocted.
And
what do you think? Was this preconceived?
Yeah, well, it seems like it from like all the intricate stuff and all the like answering machine messages they had to record and like all that stuff. But like they did so much in the day, like, and it seemed like they got a late start, what with all this planning and whatnot, right?
Yeah.
So like, what's up with that?
I don't know. It's very strange. But so they decide or somehow planned that they will pretend Sloane's grandmother died, pull her out of school, pick her up, and then they'll go off on their shenanigans. So meanwhile, Edward R. Rooney, who's the dean of students at this high school.
What? He's not the principal?
He's the dean of students, is what his
Again,
nameplate
this high
says.
School is like weird.
Yeah, it's really weird.
College.
It's weird.
And Ben Stein teaches there.
Yeah, Ben Stein teaches
economics.
Oh, well, that was history.
Oh, well, So
Could
he
be
like is giving an
economics.
economics lesson.
Okay, yeah. So Edward R. Rooney hates Ferris Bueller a lot. He's like popular. Everyone loves him. And worst of all, he's missed school 9 times and he believes that he's been faking all of them. So he's out to get Ferris and prove that he's not actually sick and that he's playing hooky so that he can nail him and make an example of him, I guess, for the kids. So this whole movie is essentially Ferris, Cameron, and Sloane like off on their excitement missing school day in Chicago in the city, while Edward R. Rooney, I like to say the whole name.
No, it's kind of weird.
It's what his nameplate says.
Wow.
Where Mr. Rooney unsuccessfully tries to catch him at the game the whole time. So it's like back and forth between that. Meanwhile, the sister Jeannie also is convinced Ferris is faking, which isn't that big of a deal because he winked at her when he was faking in the beginning.
Yeah.
So it's not like, oh, I knew he was faking. Like, I'm always surprised why she's so like, I know it, when she finds out that he was faking it. Like, duh.
I don't know. Like, they just have a bad relationship.
Yeah, she hates him. So she's just sick of him and how everyone loves him and all that. So there's that. I think those are the only conflicts. Pretty much, right? Yeah. So Ferris and his friends have a great day in Chicago. They go to a museum. They go to a fancy restaurant. Ferris gets on a parade float and sings with a bunch of slutty German float performers. I don't know what their deal is. Freaking sluts. And yeah, I mean, and big plot point. They have taken Cameron's dad's father's
Grandfather.
Maybe I'm tired too. They took Cameron's dad's Ferrari out because they needed a convincing car to pick up Sloane from school in. And Cameron did not want him to do this. His dad loves that car more than anything. He was very upset that they were thinking about taking it. But in the end, he lets Ferris take it. So they drive that car to Chicago, leave it at a parking garage. And the parking garage, hooligans, take the car out for a 2,500,000 mile joyride.
3,000.
Oh,
3,000.
I thought he said it was
or 300, because I don't know if that last number was actually a number, that yellow one. So it might have been
no, I think it's a
100
mile.
Yeah. So then maybe it was only 150 miles they put on it, but
Still, where the fuck did they go?
They just drove around the city all day.
Yeah, but one can only do that for so long before you're like, all right. And they didn't know when they were coming back. It seemed like a very shoddy plan. Anyway, so they get the car back. Everything looks fine, even though they were joyriding around the city all day. They drive back home. Ferris realizes that there are now twice as many miles on it as when they came. So Cameron freaks out. They try to roll the miles back on the car by putting the car in reverse, which is not a real thing. That's not how you fix that. Don't know if you can. I think you have to actually break into the thing and roll it back manually to do that. Just a hot tip in case you need to do that ever in your life. Cameron freaks out, is like, I hate my dad, has a breakdown, essentially, kicks the car goes flying out this garage because it's a glass garage in the woods, suspended. It's probably 5 stories up, this garage.
It was not that high.
It looks pretty high. Who has a garage like that? I'm sorry. It's his dad's fault.
With all his cars.
So the car flies out crashes into the woods. The car's totaled. Cameron's like, ha, ha, ha. And I think he feels better about it in some weird way. It's a release, blah, blah, blah. So Ferris is like, shit, I got to get back home. Races back home. Just barely makes it home before his mom and dad get there. His sister ends up saving his butt because Mr. Rooney finds him on the back door and is like, I knew you were faking this whole time. And then she has a change of heart and realizes that Mr. Rooney earlier was trying to break into their house and it cost her. So she turns on him. I don't know. You've seen it. The plot. It doesn't need to get super detailed here. But anyways, Ferris had a great day. Life moves pretty fast. If you don't stop and look around every once in a while, you might miss it. You know the drill.
AKA everyone's yearbook quote.
Everyone's fucking yearbook quote.
Yearbook quote. Or remember on AOL Instant Messenger when you could put quotes for your away message? Mm-hmm. I feel that's something someone would do and you'd be like, you fucker.
Yeah. What was your yearbook quote?
I don't know, some poem. Might have to do with dancing or something. I don't remember.
Oh.
Just a line from a poem or something. Yeah, I did not choose the Ferris Bueller quote.
Of course not.
I mean, it's a good one, but yeah, I don't know. I just don't love this movie as much as I used to, I think. And I don't know. I'm kind of sad about it.
Well, on this watch, I really came to love Jennifer Grey's
Me
character
too.
so much more than I ever have in my life.
Agreed.
And I don't know if it's because of our age and we've just aged into this mature
Yeah, she's a badass bitch.
She's hilarious.
I love her.
I love her so much in this. She just has all
And
the
this
best
was
lines.
Pre-Dirty Dancing.
Pre-Dirty Dancing. And so she's younger than Ferris Bueller, right? Okay. So
But she can drive, so she's 16.
And why does she why did they give her a car and not Ferris? I don't get it.
Yeah, that was weird. But I was reading in the trivia that he has you remember when he does all the fake cough noises and everything? I guess that's a synthesizer. And that cost $8,000 during that time. So they couldn't buy him a car, but they bought him that.
Why did they need?
And then why does he have all this cash?
Maybe his grades weren't up or something, and they were you can't get a car until you get your grades up. We'll buy
he
you
did
all
get
this
a
other
computer,
shit.
though. Remember?
Yeah, I know. But computers weren't really a big deal back in the 80s.
And it's not like you were doing your homework on it. And I'm sorry, but as a parent, the best thing is to be give your kids a car so they have to drive their ass everywhere, right?
Well, he had his friend Cameron who could drive him instead. I don't know.
True.
Yeah, it seemed weird. But yeah, Jeannie's the best. Go Jeannie.
A fun fact about Matthew Broderick and Jennifer Grey.
I think I know what it is if I read it. Yeah.
Oh, you read it already?
Sure, I won't tell the audience though.
Audience. Listeners.
The audience.
Okay, so Matthew Broderick and Jennifer Grey became engaged after this film. So while they played brother and sister, they actually were doing the nasty behind the scenes. Very cool. Until they went to Ireland, just like I was in Ireland.
What? I didn't know
Got
it was
into
Ireland.
a fatal car crash, and obviously they didn't die, but the people in the other car, a mother and child, died. So then I guess they broke up the engagement. They their love couldn't survive that tragedy.
Yikes.
But isn't
That's
crazy?
horrible. Yeah, that's weird.
I know. I mean, those roads in Ireland are no
Oh,
joke.
I know. I was just telling somebody about my terrible time on the Ring of Beara, aka the Ring of Terror.
Yeah.
Terrifying place to drive, especially.
I kept telling my sister when we were driving around, I was like, what if a car is coming the other way? Because there'd always be these crazy turns, and the roads are so narrow, you'd kind of have to always go into the other lane. But if another car was coming at that same time, you'd think you would
You could go into the other lane
and make a wider turn
or
because
just hug the side. I always thought we were going to hit the side of something because there would be walls and stuff.
it's really small roads.
It's not
there.
okay. It's not okay. But yeah, y'all. So I'd like to start off by talking about some illnesses that you do not ever want to fake if you're trying to skip school. Number one, actually, I only have one, and it's never fake a sore throat. It's probably the worst thing. And I learned my lesson, okay? I learned my lesson the hard way. I was like, Mom, I got a sore throat real bad. I think it's strep. I don't know. It just hurts real bad. So she took me to the doctor, and then they stuck this plastic tube thing down my throat. Very upsetting.
How often did you fake? I was gonna bring up.
Oh, I did. Yeah, I did a lot.
Real life, our real life faking sickness, so you don't have to go to school. So obviously, this movie brings back the thoughts of how going to school was the most awful thing, and it fucking blew. And all you wanted to do was miss school all the time, right? Mm-hmm. So it was the best thing when you had a sick day,
yeah,
or you were just a little bit sick, and you'd be like, "Mom, I can't go to school." Oh, it was just the
So
best,
good.
and you got to sleep in because you woke up so early when our school started at 7:25.
You get to watch The Price is Right.
Oh, being home from school was the best. I just loved it so much.
Good.
So I just wanted to have some stories about what you remember as one of your best day from home from school or fake sickness times.
Can't think of one off the top of my head, but I did it a lot. I fake sick a lot, and I think it was because I just had trouble waking up, and I still do this sometimes today where I'm dang, I really want to miss work or school or whatever.
And it's the best sleep in.
Yeah.
Even if it's only a couple more hours or 1 hour, you're this was totally worth
and then
it.
so elementary school, middle school, you'd have to come up with things. I remember one time I tried to make fake puke in the toilet one time.
Oh my god.
But
you were in it to win it.
Not as advanced as Ferris.
You got
but
an Oscar
I had
in
my fair share.
faking.
Did I don't know. And then
sickness from school.
Yeah. And then in high school it's funny
The
because
Oscar goes to Andre Dumas.
Mom would call up the stairs. She'd be like, Andre, you going to school today? And then it'd be like, no.
Oh,
and then they wouldn't care.
So easy.
Also, and then this also brings a point of like, did you skip a lot of school in high school? Like not fake sick, but just like
I was
cut
a very
class?
good student. I never cut class.
Oh.
I was a serious student. I want to tell you 2 times that I did skip school.
Okay.
Well, okay. One was so this is the opposite. In kindergarten, I was really sick. I ate this giant omelet for breakfast, and then I was like, Mom, Dad, my stomach hurts. And they're like, you're going to school. You're not faking. Like, I was in kindergarten. I didn't even know how
that's
to
not
fake.
even a thing.
So like, you're not staying home. And I was like, okay. So I get on the bus and proceed to puke my omelet up, like on the bus right before we get to school. I'm in the front seat. Like, it smelled so bad. It was like all over me. I was like covered in my own vomit. So we pull into school and everyone's like, get off the bus. And everyone's like holding their nose. It smells so bad. I'm like covered in my own puke.
Oh my God.
My sister, older sister, was on the bus with me and just walked by and got off the bus too and didn't even say anything to me or comfort me or anything. And I always give her shit about it to this day. And she's like, well, they told everybody to get off the bus. I'm like, not you. You're my relative. Like, help me out. So
She was embarrassed.
Yeah, she would be. She's the worst. I would never do that to you. And then in freshman year, I had this like crazy I had this crazy history teacher who was like so mean to me and gave me basically like a stomach ulcer. So we had to do this thing where we read the Iliad, which is like Homer, like Greek like story. I mean, it's very complicated and hard. And it was translated, but we had to like memorize like 3 pages of it and like recite it to the class. It was like the craziest fucking project ever. So I just didn't have time to do it. So I was like, screw that. I'm just gonna like call in sick today. And then go to my next class. So being like, oh, I have a dentist appointment, whatever. So unfortunately, my teacher, like from first period, Mr. Baker, comes into my second period English class and sees me there and is like, that bitch skipped my class. Even though like I had called out and said I was going to be late. Like I did it all legit. And he marches up to me in the class. And he's like, why weren't you in my class earlier? And I was like, oh, sorry. Like I had a dentist appointment. And he's like, don't you ever miss my class again. He like threatened me and I started crying. Oh my God, it was the worst.
Idiot.
Yeah.
He sucks.
Those are my 2 stories.
Yeah. I skipped a lot of school in high school, but only like in ways I knew I could get away with it. Like, so I had my senior year was like the biggest joke ever of like especially second semester, I think. I had like no real classes. I had 2 internships. One was a drama internship where I just like photocopied scripts the whole time. Second was a work study at my mother's place of employment, which she didn't even really need somebody to work there. So after a while, I just renamed it my go home, eat, and sleep period. So it was last period. And then at our high school had this schedule where it had a rotating block. So remember there was like A day and B day. And B day had a rotating block. So because it would schedule... Yeah. So it would rotate the things around. So on certain times of the month or whatever, you would have the same class like twice in a row. So it would be like double rotating.
So you'd have a 3-hour class.
So I'd have a 3-hour work study period with my mother, which was just go home and eat and sleep. So that was the best. So that's all I did. Pretty much.
I can't believe that.
You could use that. Like, so there was always that guy, Mr. Milbeer, that would like stand in the parking lot and like anybody leaving, and he'd be like, "We're going," and you'd have to have like a note or something. But I'd be like, "Work study."
Believe that. I like busted my ass so hard senior year. I took like all AP classes and like never missed a day. You suck.
You didn't need to. I'm telling you, high school grades are like the dumbest shit ever. Like as soon as you get into college, like it doesn't matter.
Yeah, I wanted that good standing. I want to be in the top whatever of my class, and I was.
But weren't you already had gotten into college? So like, what's the point?
Yeah, but I just wanted to be like, remember like whatever place you were in the class, like valedictorian, 2, 3.
What place were you?
I was 15.
Pretty good.
Pretty good. Yeah, anyway, too many stories. Not enough time in the day.
Yeah, so do you want to talk about anything in particular?
Okay, I talked about that story. Did you know the mom and dad got married in real life?
I did. I read that also.
But then got divorced.
Yeah.
That's kind of weird. But they were kind of a sweet couple.
They were. They were like a
really
little too mushy, though. They were like all over each other, like in Ferris's room. Like, hi, oh, we love you so much. Yeah, like get over it.
I liked the addition of Ben Stein, and it reminded me of that show Win Ben Stein's money. And also a Visine commercial.
Yes.
And how funny that guy is, but really smart dude. But glad he made it into this movie. I think that's like such a famous scene. Bueller. I remember one time I was writing down things that are like in the pop culture like lexicon now. I almost said zeitgeist. That's weird. No, like in the lexicon now, and how the Bueller one is like obviously so famous from this. So Ben Stein is in class and he's like taking roll, and he's like Adams, blah blah, Abernathy, and then Bueller. And so that's just like something to say when no one answers you now, right? Mm-hmm. So I remember like I planned like an online date with this guy, and we were like texting, and we were like, oh, where do you want to meet, blah blah blah. Excuse me. And then like he just never got back to me. We like literally were just trying to figure out what bar to go to, and then he just stopped replying. So I remember I wrote back Bueller.
Yep. That's
pretty awesome.
Totally a thing.
So that's one I use, I think, a lot.
Have you heard about the weird fan theory about this movie?
I don't believe it, and especially after watching this, definitely not.
Yeah, it's pretty dumb.
It's
so the
dumb.
fan theory is that Ferris is just a figment of Cameron's imagination, and that he embodies like both Ferris. Ferris is everything that he wants to be. So he either there's kind of two theories. One is that there is no Ferris, and the whole thing happened without Ferris. The other one is that the whole thing never happened, and it's all just happening in Cameron's mind, and he never leaves his bedroom. So, I mean, both of them are dumb.
It's just too focused on Ferris to have that be a thing,
right? Like,
you know, if it was with Cameron from the beginning, you would be like,
right,
yeah,
like why would Ferris have a whole family and a sister and a mean dog?
It's so focused on
Mr.
Ferris.
Rooney like trying to catch him. It's very odd. So yeah, stupid theory, whatever. Doesn't make sense. Question for you. Mm-hmm. So when they go to the museum, Cameron like spaces out at that Seurat painting. Why is that? What's the symbolic
I have no idea.
nature of that? Oh, I thought you were smart and you knew.
No, it's just like a famous painting, and it really is in that museum, but it's just like...
But it keeps zooming in. So my theory is that he realizes that like we're all just like tiny little dots of paint on like a canvas that make up like a person, and it just gets smaller and smaller and smaller. So he really seems like he's having an existential crisis in that moment. So,
or my theory would be that you need to look at like the bigger picture. That he was kind of neurotic and always focusing on like the little tiny things about his life and stuff like that.
Yeah, exactly.
But the whole theme and like what, you know, just like Ferris says, like if you don't like stop and like appreciate your life and look around, like you're gonna miss it. Like you need to like look at stuff, or even like remember when they're like on the Sears Tower and they're looking at stuff from like above and seeing the city from there and how peaceful the city looks from like that height. Versus if you get down to a smaller level, it's like chaotic and crazy and loud. So yeah, I think that's just like an ongoing theme.
And Cameron really does end up having a great time, and it's a really sweet moment at the end when he's like, "I'm really going to miss you guys next year." And
yeah, I really like Cameron.
Yeah, I just
He's
feel
awesome.
bad for him. I was just very concerned for his well-being.
But he's fine by the end. He needed to go through all this to come out the other side and realize like he needed to stand up to his dad, and he could be, you know, a force in correcting the problems in his family. Like he was just like a bystander being like, oh, I guess I'll just like take the shit my dad does, which is I think like a lot of kids obviously because they're your parents, but like you can be the power of change, Cameron.
Go Cameron.
But yeah, I like Cameron in this. I don't love Ferris.
I know he's not. he's such a strange choice for someone who's supposed to be like this, like I guess he's supposed to be a stud, right? Like, I mean, everyone seems to love him.
Well, he's very cute in this.
Yeah, he's very popular, but like he's not your stereotypical, I guess, like hot. He's not like Brad in Teen Witch, where it's like it's like a hottie, but like I don't know, maybe because he's smart and he knows all those things. Like, what do you think he will be when he grows up? Hopefully, someone that engineers like super cool gadgets, because all that shit he rigged up in his room is like crazy.
I think he's like a Ryan Seacrest or something. You know, like
I hope not. I hope he uses his skills for better.
But just like popular and like, I mean, do you think he like? I just never like believed that relationship with him and Sloane or something. For some reason.
And she's like, he's gonna marry me. I'm like,
what?
Dream
no
on.
Way.
Like,
he's dropping her ass as soon as he gets to college. Like, what do you think this is?
It's weird.
I mean, yeah, they had like a good time, but he's just like out for himself. That guy.
Yeah, perfect example is when he's like running back home and those two women are like sunbathing out, and he like goes back and talks to them like, hello, what about Stallone? He doesn't care. He doesn't give a fuck.
Yeah.
So 2 fashion questions. One, how do you feel about Stallone's wardrobe in this? Yay or nay?
Well, I like the jacket.
Yeah. Jacket, good.
The
Shorts
are another story.
No.
Yeah.
Like
I like her little
culottes.
negligee
Are they
thing that
culottes?
she... No, culottes are like really long.
Okay.
Yeah. No, those are like baggy kind of gross shorts. But she have boots too. High boots. Yeah. Right?
Calf
Calf
boots?
boots. Yeah.
I don't know.
She's very pretty, that woman.
She is. But yeah, the shorts, nay. I don't like them.
Yeah.
What about Ferris's weird sweater, which I always thought was leopard print, but I guess it's
is.
not.
Oh, it's not.
Oh, I don't know. I got a closer look at it
Of making that a Halloween costume.
right now, like this year. You
Yeah.
can do that.
You could do like khakis and a t-shirt and then find a vest like
You
that.
could just
or
be the
something.
pretty lesbian girl at the arcade.
Yeah, there you go. And then someone could be Cameron, and you just would need that Detroit like Red Wings shirt.
Mm-hmm. Sure.
That'd be kind
Okay.
of fun.
Sure.
And then you
I'd rather be
could-
Sloan, but whatever.
Yeah, it just wouldn't be like that recognizable.
All 3 of them would, I think.
Yeah. I guess, but
Yeah, it's a good costume. Make it happen. Make it
Yeah.
happen.
let my Cameron go.
How many
Love that
times are you
part.
gonna say it?
Oh my
How many
god, I
times?
love that part. So it's like such a weird, creepy part where like Cameron's like in bed, like Ferris has called him and is trying to get him out and whatever. And then there's this part where is that before Ferris calls, I guess, maybe? Or like after he hangs up?
After
on
he
him?
hangs up.
Yeah. And so he just is like sitting in his bed, like lying, like face up, kind of staring at the ceiling. And then there's this weird, like biblical song that he sings that goes, "When Cameron was in Egypt's land, let my Cameron go." And then like there's all this chorus that comes in behind him on that "Let My Cameron Go" part. I just like to say that at least once a week for like no reason whatsoever.
I know. It's one of your favorite things.
I know, it's so
You
funny.
love that.
That and the "Hey Bada Bada" part. I always used to do that at baseball games.
Swing, bada.
Connected to this. Hey, bada 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 bada, swing bada.
Well, he says it funny. Like
Yeah.
it's like swing,
He can and he can and he
bada.
can and he can and he swing bada. And I love Cameron's like old man voice.
Yeah.
So he calls the principal to pretend to be Sloane's dad, Mr. Peterson, and then he uses that voice again. That's like his adult voice when they're like trying to freak out the waiter at the Fancy Fresh restaurant when they're trying to convince him that he's Abe Froman, Sausage King of Chicago. But he uses this like funny old man voice with a weird accent. I kind of love it.
Mr. Rooney, it's me, R.J. Peterson.
And you like when you the best part
I
is
don't
that
know
when
what
you
you're pulling
when
here.
you see him doing it,
Yeah.
because for a while you only hear it because like when Mr. Rooney's talking on the phone, but when you see Cameron having to do that voice, he like contorts his face into this like crazy expression
Yeah.
to be able to do that voice. It's so funny.
Pretty funny.
I love that
Pretty
guy.
funny. Other question. What ever happened to Abe Froman, and why didn't he come and get his table at the fancy
Yeah,
restaurant?
maybe that was just dumb luck that he like didn't show up.
I know. I always think about it.
And who really was Abe
It
Froman?
keeps me up
Do
at
you
night.
Picture him being like a real fat,
I picture him
German-looking guy.
Dan Aykroyd.
Yeah.
Because because in Tommy Boy he's the muffler king of whatever city that
funny.
is. Is that
Yeah.
Chicago too? No, I don't know. But yeah, that was in my head. But yeah, that part, I'm like, dang, Abe, where'd you go, man? Where'd you go? Because he had it's not like he was by himself. Maybe he did like a standing
three.
reservation like every day. But no, this was party of 3, so like him and 2 other people like didn't get their lunch that day. I don't know. Also weird thing I noticed this time is that Sloane is a cheerleader? Question mark.
Well,
I
he
do
just,
not picture her as a cheerleader.
Yeah, she seems too cool. But
Way too cool. She just seems
Too
not
cool
her deal.
for school.
Not her deal. But yeah, I think those are all the questions I had.
Wow. I had. Oh, I guess that's confusion.
You can talk about confusion.
Okay, so at the end, when Jeannie is like at the police station, there's this funny scene with Charlie Sheen as this like drugged out dude. So he's been arrested for drugs, and she's been arrested for making a false police report because Mr. Rooney broke in and she called, and like it's such a funny scene when she like flips out at him and kicks him in the face and like flips out. I love that. And when she like calls the police department and she goes, like, I need, that's what I say a lot too. I need help. Speak any English? Like
So good.
slams down the phone and like she like slams the phone together and then like chucks it. Oh my god, she's
Why
so
would they think she
funny
made
in
that
this.
up? Like, what does someone have to gain from
Yeah.
making a false intruder? Like,
Yeah,
report?
and also like you're like, hey, they left. Like the intruder left. I'm sorry, not my fault. Like,
or you still make sure they're okay. Like, I don't know.
that
It
was
just
weird.
seems weird.
anyway, so she's like talking. At first, is like really mean to Charlie Sheen, and she's like, "Why don't you stick your thumb up your butt?" But finally, he's like pretty. She like realizes he's pretty cool, and then they like make out at the end. So then after they make out, she acts like she's on drugs. And when I was a little kid, I always thought like you could like catch drugs from other people by kissing them.
No, it's the love bug.
I know. I didn't realize that. So I was like, oh my God. She like he was high and he like passed on her the high by like kissing her. Nice. I know. That doesn't happen, I guess.
Wow.
But I love that part.
That's funny.
Charlie Sheen. Where did he come?
Philly.
Where did he go? All
Where
right.
did you go, Charlie Sheen? So remember when? So the guy that plays Mr. Rooney is named. I forget now.
Yeah.
Anyways, he got busted for like.
Okay, I was gonna like. I remember when we saw him for the first time today. I was like, wasn't there a sketchy story with that too?
Yeah, so like in 2001 or something, he was arrested for trying to solicit a
Jeffrey something.
Yeah, a 15-year-old
Yeah.
boy, like in like a sexually he wanted to take sexually provocative pictures of him or something. So he got like arrested for that and was put on probation for some, I don't know, however much money, and then was put on the sex offender list for like 5 years, which
no.
I think ended in 2008, which I thought it didn't end, so I was confused.
Yeah.
You know, like I thought once you were on that list, like you were on that list.
I don't know, man.
Yeah. So whenever I see him, I'm always like, ooh.
Well, he does look like a child molester anyway.
Total child molester.
Like, such a-
And he fucking like threw a flower pot at the dog. Like, what a
He had them
terrorist.
eat the flowers.
I think he threw it at the
No,
because the
no,
flowers were all
Oh,
smashed.
he dropped it on his head.
Yeah, I think I just knocked him out.
that's
I
sad.
know. Like, fuck him. Like, you don't even, I mean, yeah, scary dog, whatever. Why did you need to get inside that house? You knew Ferris was lying. I don't see what he gained from going inside the house. Very odd. Yeah, that's it. That's all I got.
Wow.
Do you want, should we go over the long list of Sweety alumni?
Yeah, there's a lot of alumni in this one. People. So Mr. Rooney, we were just talking about, is also the dad in Beetlejuice.
Correct.
Crazy. Jeannie, Jennifer Grey, was in Dirty Dancing.
Huzzah.
Christy Swanson has a small part in the beginning scene in Ben Stein's economic class when she says, oh, I think Ferris is sick. And she has this like funny thing where she's like, my girlfriend's brother's sister's friend knows this guy from second period. Like, I don't know how she memorized those lines. So it was funny. Anyway, so she was in Mr. Boogedy. We haven't done Buffy yet, but hello.
Wanted
Christy
to.
Swanson.
Another one that you can't rent. Dumb.
And then Weird Guy, and also in the economics class, was the greaser in Can't Buy Me Love.
It's so weird that I spotted that. Another weird thing is I spotted Louis Anderson as like the flower delivery guy and the dirty flower delivery thing. The nurse. It's like, I heard you were feeling sick. Ugh, so weird. I feel like there's someone else. No?
No, that's all I wrote.
Ben Stein
all
didn't
she
have like
wrote.
a random part in something?
No,
I guess not.
Maybe. I don't know. You have to really think about it.
Yeah. And Matthew brought, yeah. Huh. Oh,
We don't have Matthew Broderick ones, right? You seen that one where he's like with the monkey, like the chimpanzee?
Well, I keep seeing
What's
it
that one?
pop up
Project
on
X?
Netflix or
Yeah.
something. Yeah. So I'm sure we'll probably watch more movies with Matthew Broderick in the near future since they seem to keep popping up.
Yeah, he was a darling of the 80s.
I know, and so was SJP, and it just, it makes sense that they came together.
I just can't think of him the same once that whole affair thing came out.
He had an affair?
Yes, remember they almost got divorced.
With who? Was it the nanny? It's
I
always the
don't
fucking
know.
nanny.
And they were able to work through it, and I think that's so great. But I'm just like, what? She's an SJP.
No, what the fuck, Matthew?
No, what the fuck? Dumb as a goose.
But yeah, anything else you would like to discuss?
So I wanted to talk about the Dankeschön part for a second because not only was I just in Germany and I was saying Dankeschön all the time. Well, that means thank you very much. And that's like, you don't really say that a lot. You just say Danke. But why did I want to bring that up? Because, for two things. So one, I think when I was little and I watched this, I thought he actually sang that song. And then he like, was it lip syncing? Or at least the twist and shout part maybe. I was like, oh my God, that's like him actually singing. But to this day, still, I cannot believe that that song is sung by Wayne Newton and that he was a man. Right?
Dankeschön?
Yes.
Not Twist and Shout. Okay.
Yeah,
I was like, wait a minute, you're confused.
No.
I know.
Every
Weird.
time I hear that song, I'm like, that guy has the craziest fucking voice ever. And also, he doesn't have that. I mean, he was kind of a little kid when he sang that, or youngish.
Yeah, how young was he when he
I
did
think
that?
he was pretty young, but yeah. I
Yeah,
love
that is
song,
pretty
though.
nutty.
It's such a good song.
It's funny, yeah. But yeah, I still can't get over those floozies on the German float. Like, what the fuck are they doing? They're like putting their dresses like over their heads practically.
It's
like,
so weird.
calm down. Tone it down. Take it down a notch.
Yeah.
For 7. It's a weird, like, what parade is that even to begin with? Is it like
It's an actual parade that happens in Chicago. I was reading about it. It's some like German fest.
Oh,
thing.
it's for it's only okay. I was like, I thought there were different countries.
Or maybe, well, it was
I
just like
wasn't
a
sure.
lot of German floats,
Yes,
but
it makes sense if
yeah.
they're Dankeschön. But yeah, okay.
some German culture parade or something.
Interesting.
But yeah, I do like that scene though. Again, I don't know. I think I've just seen it too many times, and I was like,
I think you're just real tired.
I'm so tired.
You got to get this girl
I like
to
this movie,
bed.
and I feel like I'm gonna get trashed for saying like
No
it's
one's
not
gonna
that
trash
good.
on you. I think a lot of
Trash
people
on
feel
me?
the same way that
Okay, good.
that we do, and I think that there's just. I mean, I would if it was between this and like Troop Beverly Hills, I would obviously pick Troop Beverly Hills. It's never been our top favorite movie.
No, it really hasn't. And I'll say this about John Hughes movies too. I mean, I really like them, and I love his writing. If you look at all the movies he wrote and directed, most of them too, it's like every movie you can like remember from the 1980s. And we've already done like a bunch of them: Home Alone, Uncle Buck, Trains, Planes, and Automobiles, like Beethoven. He just wrote everything. But here's what I feel about John Hughes movies. Like when I watched them as a little girl, I was like, whoa, this movie is so cool. Because I was just like young, and they were always with like dealing with teenage kids, and I thought they were so cool. Like I remember I cried at the Breakfast Club when I first saw it. Like when they're all in like the locker room, like talking about sad stories or whatever. And I don't know. I just,
Okay.
I don't know. And then now watching them as like an adult, older, and I'm like, like, this is kind of cheesy and not dumb, but like, I don't know. This is just like, I really appreciate John Hughes movies, but it's something about watching them when you're actually in that age or around that time versus watching it later. It's just, it's just not the same.
Yeah. I think it gave you like a lot of hope or something
Yeah.
for that time in your life.
Yes.
And then when you got there, you were like, well, this isn't the Breakfast Club.
Yeah.
Like, what is this shit?
Yep.
So I understand. So, I mean, yeah. But still love Uncle Buck a lot, I will say.
Do you remember the one, because I was like looking at all the John Hughes movies on IMDb. Remember the one called Some Kind of Wonderful with Leah Thompson?
I've never seen
Eric
it.
Stoltz.
I know of it.
She's like his like little like friend, the blonde. I think it's Mary Louise Parker. Yeah, and she's like Eric Stoltz's friend, but he doesn't like see her like that, and she like helps him get Leah Thompson, who's like the pretty girl in school. Remember this?
No.
But
Yeah,
then
I've
at
never
the
seen
end,
it.
He
So I don't know.
he does fall in love with her. She gives him like her earring or something. Do you
That's
remember this?
Breakfast Club.
Oh shit!
I mean, maybe he does it in that too. I
No.
don't know. Maybe it's a theme, a
Isn't
trope
it weird
of John
that
Hughes
Eric
films.
Stoltz was Marty McFly?
Yeah, I was just
And
gonna
they
say.
like, reshot it.
Yeah.
God, that's weird.
So that would have been the second. Was that before or after Back to the Future? That movie, Some Kind of Wonderful.
After.
Yeah.
I think it's like
Weird.
late 80s, but
Must have been awkward. Well, remember you're going to be in that movie I was in? That
Oh,
was
yeah,
really
Leah Thompson.
popular. Wow, crazy. Yeah, I
Yeah.
got to see that.
Good story.
Got to see that.
Good
Good to
story.
see it. Okay,
Dankeschön.
so I guess we'll wrap it up.
darling,
Oh,
Dankeschön.
A few more words from Wayne.
Thank you for
Listening to the podcast. We love movies. They might be not great.
I'm really tired.
She's
I don't
going
think I
to
was very
bed.
funny. I
No,
just
it's
wanna
okay.
fall
You were funny.
asleep.
Okay, that's all. All right, thank you for listening. Please follow us on Twitter at the Sweety Club and on Instagram at Large Marge Sent Us. We'll be back next time for another sweet movie. Hopefully, Sweet will be well rested.
Boom.
Boom, boom, boom. Oh yeah.
Bye.
Bye.